we reach another question. It's a longer question that has a lot of details. You want to start by reading the question stem, and you're going to do your projection. Under FINRA Rule 2040 and Section 15A of the Securities Exchange Act, what a mouthful. This is not unusual on the exam, that they throw a rule number, they throw a section of a securities law, maybe they would even use the full name of the law, the Securities Exchange Act of 1934. I need you to have the wherewithal to say that's probably not important. The question will not turn on your specific memorization of any rule number or section of a law, but instead that is just setting the stage, and there will be content later on that will help you identify what this is about. So under these rules, a broker-dealer may compensate an outside party for a business referral in the form of a finder's fee, and then you have 4 potential opportunities. Now this is a little bit harder to project because you're not sure exactly what they're going to come at you with. But maybe you'd say, I know the rules allow me to pay finder's fees in certain circumstances, and that in other areas it might be prohibited. So as you're going through it, you're going to think, do I like this answer? Do I not like this answer? Or am I not quite sure? So we're now coming back to, am I, as a broker-dealer, allowed to compensate an outside party for a referral? And then we analyze A. If the payment is recorded on the broker-dealer's books and records. And you might say to me, well, Dave, that doesn't seem unreasonable. Maybe that's the rule. And I'd say, okay, let's put a maybe by choice A. And then we move on. Under no circumstance. Say, maybe you can't ever do that. But I would caution you. We always want to be wary of absolutes. Under no circumstances. Always. Never. These types of absolute terms we want to be cautious about. So I'd say, maybe not, because this doesn't seem like such an offensive set of rules. But on the other hand, I may not be sure. So I'd say, maybe again. And that's totally fine to have 2 maybes. Answer choice C. If the outside party is properly registered. Say, that's kind of an interesting one. Because now, what they've done is they've taken outside party and made it a registered broker-dealer. That's the analysis here. Is a properly registered, they didn't say it, but that is going to be properly registered broker-dealer. And you have to practice to read some of the unstated assumptions in the questions and the answer choices. So I'd say, that kind of sounds good. And then I'd go to D, if a written agreement is in place between the outside party and the broker-dealer. And I'd say, maybe that's the rule. Given this circumstance, I would go back and ask you, what was your response to each of the potential choices? And you'd say to me, well, A was a maybe, B was a low maybe, C I liked, and D was a maybe. And with that in mind, you'd say, well, with a maybe, maybe, yes, maybe, I'm going to take answer choice C. And this process of going through each choice and being able to rank it relative to the other choices becomes such a powerful tool in your deploying your intuition and your instinct on this material. Because I promise, if you've read your book and you've watched your video lectures, you will have heard about FINRA Rule 2040 and Section 15A of the Securities Exchange Act, even if you didn't recall it specifically, and even if we didn't even refer to those particular rules. But that's the whole point. The questions let you identify the general contours of the conduct that securities professionals have to follow. And in doing this, you leave this question, having selected answer choice C, with an understanding that payments for securities business can only be made to other registered entities. And you would commit that going forward, you would have an understanding of these rules and the finder's fees scenarios, because you know other questions about this are going to come up. So as you go and spend all your time drilling and practicing in your QBank, please try this technique. Slow it down. Dig into each question. Can you identify why the right answer is right? Can you identify why the wrong answer choices are wrong? And commit to yourself that when you see another question, a different question on the same topic, that you will get it right because you learned that in this question. If you feel uncertain about the topic or the concept, now is the time to go and learn it. The questions are all reference a section in your materials, and you can go back and study up. And for the bulk of your studying, that's what I want you doing, so that you can be sure when there is a gap, when there is a misconception, you will fill that as you go. And that is the best way to use the question bank to learn the content that's required to pass these exams.